watching plays and scores retold. In this podcast the game unfolds. Every try and tackle shared. Legends of the field, none compared. Echoes of cheers, the crowd gets loud. In this audio space, we feel so proud. Pass the word, let the speakers blast. Rugby tales from the present and past. Through the airwaves, our spirits cast. In this rugby love, forever vast.
I say. Wim Kobus, welcome back
Dankie baie.
in the new season, in the new year.
Yes.
Wim Kobus, maybe we should give him Moya. Do you think we should give him a bit of time just for the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks of rugby, to hear his opinion of what happened, of the Lions playing the Stormers, those games? I think we must do that just to get his opinion, because we've missed some Kobus and his input.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, exactly.
I have to be that guy tonight. I'm very proud of the Lions that they won the Sharks in the test. Also a bit disappointed that we lost to the Stormers. Saturday's game was, it's like, Niels, jy se verstaan as ek sê, hulle speel ruk en stoot, they then play good, then play bad. It's like there's no consistency. And that's a bit of a worry to me when we play bigger teams. Like I said to Kempis and one of the other Lions groups, I'm glad that we've won a few games now, don't get me wrong, guys. But the next two games, this week, next week, overseas, and the one against the Bulls is going to be crucial as far as I'm concerned, to see if we can get the consistency back. I think we have the players. Maybe Pete should have been in brought on one of the games a bit earlier to give him more chance. But to me, is that we run away 17-0 against the Stormers. We run away 15-0 to 50 something against the Sharks. And it's like we take our foot off the pedal, relax, and then it put us in the arse against the Stormers, and it really happened against us in the Sharks game. And on Saturday we weren't far behind. We were well ahead, 14 points up by halftime, and then we really spun at that again. I just would like for us to play like a full 80 minutes, not 10 minutes, 5 minutes rest, 10 minutes, 5 minutes rest. If you guys catch what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. I also said that many times in the podcast. Moya probably think that I'm repeating myself the whole time. I've asked that question a lot of times myself. When we haven't seen the Lions play an 80-minute game in this whole season so far. We haven't seen it play a full 80. Yes, it does look better. It's like we play 50 minutes now, but the full 80, we can be so dangerous. Hello, Elias.
Hey, sorry man, ek was net so 'n bietjie laat geweest, net gou 'n ander call gehad. Daai julle happy new year, voorspoedige nuwe jaar vir julle almal. I hope it's going to be a good one. Looks like it's going to be a good one for the Lions. Hey, Quiz.
Yeah.
Hey, Moya.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Me and Moya, last week we're quite positive of how the things of the Lions is going. We mentioned 3 derbies, we lost one we shouldn't actually have lost, and then playing against the Sharks with 14 men for 20 minutes, playing against the ref, and still managed to pull that through. So we have 2 games up, 3 games. That's looking much better. That's the thing we've been asking for how many years now in the URC. Let's just get the SA derbies right. And both of the games we won was away from home. Almost the third one, the Stormers one, was so close. And nobody gave us a chance with that game. Said we would get smashed. I even thought that. I thought maybe we have a chance, like getting maybe a log point or losing by less than 7. Um, not getting bonus point tries. And was I surprised? Yes, we let it slip in the last minutes, like Kobus just said now. And that's frustrating. How many games did we let it slip against the other Northern Hemisphere teams in the URC? We're up,
Yeah.
and then that last 15 minutes, that last 20 minutes, then they catch up and they steal the win from us. That was frustrating. But hopefully we get that right. Otherwise, I'm positive. Moya, I know you are because we went on about it last week. I
Yeah.
want
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
really get into what Elias and Nkobus thinks so far of the season. And do you guys still think we're going to get a top 8 position?
Uh, I really think from my side, I think we'll get a top 8 position. It will be interesting for me to see, who they're going to select this weekend to go and play. And I would not send a guy like Chris Smith at this stage because I think he's been having quite a few games. A guy like Angela Davids, I also think, don't fly him over now because he's also had quite a number of games. And it's a Challenge Cup game this weekend. So it's I think the second, I think Lyon was third last on the top 14 French. And this weekend it's Peppercorn or what Peppercorn or something that
Mm-hmm.
we playing. So I think we can still win it, but I will still not take our best team over. Just let them rather stay at this side. And I think we've got the depth now still to do it. And just with regards to the game of this weekend, wow, what a game Lekani had. He's really proving himself that it was a good buy. And
Mm.
I think even a guy like Eddie Davis, and well done
Yeah,
again to
yeah.
Julian Riddle-Hayes, that's always been helping our scrums throughout the years, in good times, bad times. Our scrums are pretty much solid compared to the world, the big players or the Springbok players. And he stood his man, it's just on the line outs. I still have a bit of a problem. Still with the ball in hand when we attack, we still lose the ball when they defend. But overall, it was really a flippin' good game. I enjoyed it a lot, and I really think we can make the top 8 this weekend. And I think out of I'm talking about the URC games now. I think there's 8 games left. I'm speaking under correction, and I think we've got 7 home games. 7 home games. We're going to be in Europe
Yeah.
now for 2 weeks, and then we're coming home, and we've got 3 straight games URC now against in his local derbies against the South African teams. So Niels, like you also said before, that's how we always lose because we lose against the South African side. But now we've already beat the Bulls, we beat the Sharks, we just missed it with the Stormers. And I think we've got it to win the 3 home derbies with them. I really think so.
If the Stormers played like they did, or we play like we did away in that fixture where we almost had them, I think we can take them on in the Den. I do think we can take them on. I think we gave them a shock. Even Dobson said on social media and stuff, he said he's so frustrated as his team because they've been dominating the URC, and here comes the Lions. And we really rattled them. That first 20 minutes, the way where we spoke about it, the way the Lions in that first half starved them of the ball, and we did the
Oh,
same
beautiful.
thing with the Sharks as well. We did the same thing, and we did the same thing this weekend.
Mm.
Um, that shows something is happening. We managed to keep the ball. We play at the right areas, decide to attack on the right areas. And that small 22 entries that we had in the beginning of the season, where we get into a 22 and we lose possession, we go out scoreless. That started to change now. It's not every hit, but 6 out of 10 times we enter into the 22. There's points on the board. Either it's a 3 point or it's a try.
Yeah. No, just to add on this, and sorry, I know Kubas was also give his take on it. But also, Kobus, your guy, Renzo, really did flipping well again this weekend. He was all over the show. He was really flipping good. But I think that I want to mention that to you guys. Check it out. If when we attack now, we'll get a guy like Trappies. We don't go wide every time. We stick to the inside and we score our tries through the middle. A lot of our games now, it's like our attacking game plan has changed a bit from last season. I don't know if you guys will pick it up. So we rather do the attacking from the center of the field than on the wide. We still score, on the wide, like it will always be your score with your wingers. But there's a lot of times now that we break through in the middle, and it's actually working for us at this stage.
Isn't it probably
Yeah.
because of Cronje? Cronje likes to make the line straight. He's mainly the guy that's going through straight. I don't know. Maybe it's because he's playing more. That's why it's changed. I'm not sure.
I think Bronson Mills has a hand in that as well. I'm thinking particularly in the game against the Sharks, Bronson Mills was, doing his best to be quite direct. And from there, we're getting front football where actually we could do, more short passes and offloads. And so, we're able to keep going relatively straight rather than to instantly swing.
Yeah.
But also,
Yes, look, I am very positive about the way the Lions are going about the business now. But I must say, the main thing that makes me smile. Niels Moyer, remember last year in one of the last podcasts I was on, I said that the body language of the Lions, especially coach like Quinn Horner, especially after the Currie Cup final we lost, it's like, just do we have to be here? Now all of a sudden, they're playing for themselves again. They're playing for each other again. Like Neil said, now 14 men against the Sharks, 14 against 16 basically because the ref was against us as well, and we still pulled it through. That to me, it makes me smile from ear to ear. The guys are playing for themselves. They've got proud again, and that makes me think definitely we'll end up in the top eight this year.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's lovely to see, especially where, we had a rough start. And I remember, start of the season, we were all a bit concerned about that. And it's great where now, look, the day we get complete performances, we're going to be on another level. And I think, it's encouraging that we're getting there. But consistency is key. I remember I felt quite sad reading an article by Brandon Nell. I think it was at the end of last year or first week of Jan, where he was like, yeah, we've seen this movie with the Lions before. They'll be round about the top 8, and then the season just escapes them. And what's going to be different this year and that? And look, he asked some valid questions, but it feels bad when you read that. And I tell you what, the win against the Sharks really just lifted my spirits so much because I'm like, that in itself is part of the difference. Those local derbies have escaped us for how long? Now we can say we've won 2 already. Sure, our work's still cut out for us. There's a lot to do, but yeah, it feels good. And it's nice as well. Also, we're having guys signing long-term contracts. I'm so happy now where it's like, we aren't doing the 1 or 2 year contract thing. It's like, no, this guy signed till 2028 or 2029. I'm like, okay, you know what? Fantastic. We're getting there. And I think that sort of stability will be helpful. Sorry, one last point on it, because I'll use the example of someone like S.J. Kotze. It's so great that he signed an extension, but I think of him and RF Skuma, and I'm like, guys, let's remember, if we keep those two and Pete and guys like that, they're all sort of between 20 and 22. They are still very young. Rowan Venter is a veteran at 23. Nico Steen is a veteran at 22, 23. if we can keep a lot of these guys together, I really think some good things are going to come our way sooner rather than later.
Yeah, and we're even signing Springboks now. One Venter. Just imagine we're signing Springboks. Springboks want to come play for us.
Yeah.
That's not a thing that we saw in the past. No,
Exactly.
went everywhere else but the Lions. Now to get a guy like One Venter coming on the scene quickly, impressed Rassi. He chooses his home ground at the Lions. That says something. That says something. Something's big. We debated on Quayne Horn leaving maybe for the Bulls or for the Stormers or for whoever. We managed to keep him. We managed to get the two players that everybody is speaking now about, Pete and Elakani. So something's going right. Something's going right. And like you said now, you sent me that the team sheet with the ages. And it's a young team. We can dominate. If we keep the core of this team like this, we can at least dominate for the next 5-6 years.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I also think that with hopefully the new sponsor that we've been waiting for, I think that will also add value to our players and for players' salaries and stuff like that. To keep guys like that. So I'm very glad. Again, I must admit it was very good of the Lions management, and I'm one of their biggest critics always. But it was a good move to keep those players there. Really, it was a good move. And also with regard to Bowen Venter, I mean, we've been talking on these podcasts for a long time. Well, especially me, with regards to props. I just feel that we need depth on the props. I think now that we can have depth on the props, and I always said props, hookers, and our locks. And I think we might just need a hooker or two. Brandon is doing very well at this stage, I must say. And maybe just a solid lock again, Take nothing away from a guy like Westhuizen. I mean, he's really doing well. And I mean, Delport and was it Schaublon also did well this weekend. But I just feel that we're still missing a line outs here and there. But I mean, it's something that we can work on,
Yeah, I will say Mornay Brandon is, and I mean this in both a positive and negative way. He reminds me of a young Malcolm Marx in that he's all over the park and he keeps very busy. But he has the same problem Malcolm Marx had initially, where it was like good at everything but the line out. Because, and I think we saw that, I think it was against the Sharks, where he came on and suddenly we're just like, oh, our lineouts are misfiring in a big way, which, yeah, I mean, look, it is what it is, and he is working on it, which is great. But the good thing is as well that he's, his work around the park also makes it such that, like, you feel like, yeah, we have to have him there. It's great we've got Franco Marais around and he's healthy again, so we'll likely see him. I get the feeling we'll see him more against Ospreys than against Perpignan, but yeah, he's mid-30s, I think, so he probably won't be with us for that many more seasons. So yeah, I'm thinking, like making sure our stocks at hooker are good is important. Etienne Oosthuizen as well. He's 33. So, my hope is that we can keep him and, he'll keep playing well. But one wonders, especially because he has a heart condition, like how much longer he's going to go. I'm thinking 2 years. I don't see him, being a player where it's like he's pushing 40 and he's like, nope, still going to be at it. But who knows?
Yeah, definitely.
I have a question, guys. I have a question. When last, as a Lion supporter, did we have a loose trio like we have now? With options for loose trio like we have now? That's been many years. Even in the golden days with Swayze and Acker, we didn't have this much flankers. We're a little bit short on the ace man, but still, loose trio. We have options now, so much. Unfortunately, some of them are injured. But once
Yeah.
JC is back, Goma is back,
Mm.
there's Ian Camp, there's Jared Kearns, there's Frankie Horn, and all of them are
And Esther
very
Hazen as well.
air as well.
Mm.
So there's a lot of Ilakani that's slotting in now. There's so much to offer from any combo you pick there.
Yeah.
And that's the thing I'm seeing now that is we've been short on our loose trio. We didn't have to wait for it. The heavy games we couldn't play it because our guys were much slimmer and we played a mobile game. We can't get physical. But damn, Moya, hey, we spoke about it. This past weekend, our forwards didn't stand back. Nothing.
Mm.
Nothing. That was so good to see that we actually can be physical and compete. And we did it so well.
Yeah.
I think we
Yeah.
had one or two penalties that we gave away because we went in too fast or we didn't support our weight or stuff like that. But how many did
Yeah.
we get turnovers? How many did we at least slow their ball down?
Yeah, and also we're protecting the ball better, which is something that I really appreciate because that was something that was our Achilles heel. You know, it's like we string together a bunch of phases, we gain territory, and almost like clockwork, it's like, and a person's isolated, and boom. You know, like now we know, like we can have clean breaks, but we're also going to make sure we retain the ball, which is quite great. I also want to say, Siba Mahashe, who came on for Renzo, also like he's 21, and he was our under 21 captain this past season. He's someone where you know he kept himself busy. I'm like, this is good. This is really, really good. Speaking to that depth again, where to me it's fine if he's our fourth choice because we know, like now we can say numbers 1 through 4 we're still good in terms of our options at number 6. At number 7, you know, I, there's still guys I think we haven't quite seen, but also like there's guys who can play both 7 and 8. So if you include Esterhazen in there, we also have 4 good options. 8, sure, that's where I can say we're a bit slim, but at the same time. Kearns can play 8. Esterhazen can also play 8. Steenkamp can play 8. So, we do have 3 options there. Mahashe also plays 8. So, actually, yeah. But we haven't seen him at 8 at senior level. So, there is also that.
And then what's nice is with Vessel Rue now there, I'm glad that he's got a permanent position there because he knows the youngsters. He knows how depth, he knows the youth, and he knows a lot of those players he's been working with, with the youngsters. He's been working with them for a few years. And obviously, like you said, Niels, we've got ball carriers now. The weight is there. We're coming over the advantage line. Yes, like you said, we had 6s. But now we've got a 7s and 8 that goes over the advantage line. So I really think, and our turnovers are bloody great at this stage. We're getting a few turnovers, and even with today's rugby, also you need a centre that's getting the turnovers. And a guy like Henku and Elry, they do it, to get the turnovers from a centre side. So yeah, no, it's positive, really positive.
Quickly on the side going over, I looked at it quickly this afternoon at work. I think Chris is playing overseas this weekend, isn't he? Number 10.
Well, he's in the touring squad, but the hope is that Sam Francis will play this weekend and Chris Smith will rather play against Ospreys because, if I'm honest, I am a bit concerned as well where we have no backup 15. And so I'm like, we need to be careful not to play Kieran Horn into the ground. But I'm not sure if Mafura is injured because I would have brought him along because he can play 15 and he can play wing. So at least, we'd be covered in both positions. So I'm not 100% sure what the plan is, if Horn's unavailable.
I would like to see Francis and P start this weekend.
Yeah, I'd be behind that.
Me too. Yeah. It will be
Uh,
good choice.
If I want to ask you a
Hmm.
question, you really into the school level rugby. We signed Ethan Adams. Supposedly he was not going to play. They said they're going to push him into the URC, but he was not eligible to play because of the matric exams and stuff like that. But surely that's passed now. Is he going to be in a system, or is there, what's happening with Ethan Adams? Is he going to be a Curry Cup
I
player?
think I think at the time when they said it, I think we were in a dire desperate situation, and I think the situation has changed a bit. So I'm just thinking of the way that the coaches might be thinking, because that's also how I had it. He's going to be pushed into the URC in the early stage, and I think it's still a good idea because I think he's got the weight and everything for it, and he's a very strong player. But I think maybe just their thinking is, let's just wait for those last few games. Let's just see how it plays off. And maybe they'll give him a shot from the bench in 1 or 2 games. I'm hoping so. But obviously, we'll see him in the Curry Cup, that he'll be playing there. But yeah, it's also another guy. Actually, almost forgot about him. So yeah, that's also another guy that we can look at. That's really going to be an added advantage for us.
But also, does he not need to be registered for a URC squad already? Because that's where, when I didn't see him listed, I was like, okay, I understood because he was still in school and everything. So it's like, okay, once he finishes matric, he can join the Lions formally. But I think, unless we're able to do like what we did with Challenge Cup, where you're like, oh, this player is injured and so will not be able to take part in the rest of the season, so we're deregistering them for the rest of the season, and to replace them, let's put this person in. I'm not I don't know if we are able to still select him for this season. It would be good if we can. But yeah, if not, then have him play Curry Cup and then start him next season.
I think they can, like you said, that they're deregistering a player. And I think in the beginning, because that was a new word that came into the EPCR, rules, and registering a guy and deregistering. And we all thought at the beginning, when the guy gets deregistered, that the union is just like firing a guy or whatever the case may be. So I think as soon as a player gets deregistered, they can register a new player, because I think that's already what we've done with a few other players. And I think also with the player that came on, sorry, I can't recall his name, Marshu, that also came on. They registered him late, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. It was, I think it was literally last week. They were like, oh, there's a injury here, so we're deregistering this player and we're adding him. It was Steenkamp, actually. Yeah, they said they were deregistering Steenkamp and then registering Mahashe.
So the deregistering, just you must be injured to be deregistered. Or is it not about caps? When they see, listen, okay, you play too much URC games, now there's competition of the Champions Cup and the Challenge Cup. If you're going to play there as well, then for the URC, so this is only for injury. It's not based on the caps to say this guy has too many game time.
Yeah, I think it's due to injury. Is the only reason you can. Especially because, the squads are. I think even for Challenge Cup, you still have a squad of I think it's 40 or something. So, you. So far, all the deregistrations from the different teams have been a sort of like, oh, this person's injured, so we're deregistering them, and we're registering this person.
Of the Northern Hemisphere teams, do you guys know of anybody that got deregistered there?
No, but I want to say it's probably because it's probably happening. We're just not hearing about it because South African outlets won't mention it.
Yeah, but they also get definitely.
Because there's a rumor going by, but it's mostly Stormers supporters and Shark supporters that say some of the teams, the South African teams, are being forced to let certain players not play, and because of most game time they have. And I would like to know if that is. Have you guys heard that? Is that a thing, a
I
real thing?
haven't.
Because if you check the Stormers, let's call it a B team, the Sharks, the Bulls, and surely the other guys then, like the English teams, Six Nations is upon us. The Irish teams, are they not also? Would they not also do that then, if that was a thing?
They
It's
would. I mean,
international law.
yeah. Yes. Like players have to have rest periods and that. Yeah. But I'm thinking really then all you do is rotate then. It's not really a thing because like I'll use the example like if we come back to us, Steenkamp has not played enough for us to warrant deregistration. In terms of like, oh, he's played too much rugby, so if anything, I'd be like, we should probably have deregistered Kieran Horn because he's played how many games for us non-stop.
Mm-hmm. No, that's why I'm asking where this doesn't make sense for me. Maybe it's just on their side, the Stormers, poor game management. This past game, and now you hear there's rumors coming of that they were forced to play a second string
Yeah,
team, and
yeah,
it
because
kind of bit them in the ass.
look, unless it's a thing where, for example, the reason they were forced to was also in terms of the Bok rest period specifically, like not just the general player welfare thing that World Rugby has put in, but for the Bok specifically, it is possible that Saru was like, hey, listen, you need to rest this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, so pick a game. But also, part of why I'm calling nonsense on that is that you'll see, willing to put money on it. This week, the Stormers are going to have a much stronger team, or they'll feature more Springboks. Reason is, they kind of. Actually, I want to say all the SA teams did similar things to different degrees. Because we had, we alternated our squad a little bit, but it makes sense because, and if anything, I was like, maybe we should have done it more because this away game, right? We have 2 away games and then we're back. The Bulls are in a similar position where, and you can see they're taking as strong a squad as they can because they've got 2 games and then they're back. Stormers and Sharks went up for 1 week and now they're back. It wouldn't make sense to be like, cool, we're taking everyone and then we're going to fly everyone back. You'd rather, leave your top guys at home, have them get ready for the next game, because even if you lose the game away, hey, you know what? You put on a good show for the home crowd, and then it's back to URC and you're at home again, so you keep going.
Yeah.
And
And then
they third on the log, so I think that's also why they'll have their strong team in this weekend. Because if they win this weekend, they've obviously got a home playoffs in
Yes.
Championship Cup, So no, it will be a strong team.
Yeah.
So basically, it's just a rumor started from some disappointing fans. That's what you guys telling me.
I'm thinking so.
Kobus?
Yeah, I think so as well. It's just bad rumors or bad sportsmanship because they had a 100% win record. Now they lost, and now it's all of a sudden beating. And shit, guys, sorry my language, but I hate that word beating. I mean, we all know if you play different competitions with the same side, some people are going to be injured. That's why rotation is really important to me. So, yeah, I think it's just bad sportsmanship. But let's get back to the Stormers, the Sharks, and the Bulls. I think they got much more problems, especially the Bulls and the Sharks, than the Lions has had for the last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I want to
especially
get
with
to
that
the Bulls.
amount of money that they have.
I want so much to hear the opinion of Elias and Kobus of what's happening at the Bulls. We spoke about the rumors of the Springbok coaching staff, a vast number of them helping Johan Ackerman out, and then it was said, no, this is not true, and then it comes a official statement and saying, yes, they are there, and then we see this loss now this week. Do you guys think that it was a good thing? Are they really there? Are we just thinking they're there? Are they, because there was not a timeline given. Sorry, confirmed that they will be helping out at the Bulls, but it didn't say in 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks or whatever. Just they will be back with the Nations Cup with the Springboks.
Yeah.
So if we
But
think
as a
about that,
sorry. Sorry.
if we think about that, if they were involved now in this game of the Bulls this past weekend, doesn't look good for the Bulls still. Even if you have that many coaches helping you, and you still don't perform. Number 7 games in a row lost. It goes back to how many years back when the Bulls last had that record of 7 losses in a row. You don't see it often. It doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's only one guy I feel sorry for with the whole of the Bulls team. It's actually Ackerman himself, because I don't think his time is going to be last long there. Because these teams with money, we see what the Sharks do and what the Bulls are doing, and I think also Jake White, like I say Mo or Petey Wimland, and I wasn't a big Jake White fan, obviously, but I just think with a guy with Willem Strauss there that listens to more to the players than the coaches there, they're going to have problems there. And I said it the other day in a message. It's the same problem that the Lions had those years when Josh Strauss started the whole union in the Lions team, and he got rid of the coach, and just after that he left. And it's the same. In this time with the Bulls, it was Norgia and Kutsia, so it's senior players. And I think as soon as you give a player too much say in what's happening in the day-to-day training and who's going to be the coach, you have a problem. Then we're becoming like the international soccer teams who decide, the players decide who must be their coaches.
Yeah.
My point of view, Jake White, like you say, Elias, he's laughing. He's cut off. I also feel very sorry for Ackerman. I think a lot of people underestimate the way that Marcel Kutsia throws his weight around at Loftus. I personally think this will get rid of him and things will start turning for the Bulls. Like you say, the players are dictating what's happening, and that can't work that way. Something has got to be changed there. And I actually said this weekend on this group or somewhere else, I don't see Ackerman saving another 6 months there if it goes on like it goes on now, because the players has got too much say in what's cooking there, and that is wrong.
Definitely.
But do you guys think Ackerman's taking it? Because he has a strong personality. That guy doesn't take. He wants to do a thing his way. Do you really think that affects him? Or is it higher ups that, like Andries Becker went now and Chris Rousseau went? Do you really think it's the players that organize that, or do they see like Jake went now? We have Ackerman here. We have the other coaches still here. We have the players. The core of the players is still the same, but we're not performing. So let's look at where the fault can be. And just Andries Becker and Chris Rousseau's names just came up first.
Nah, I mean, I do wonder about that, because even in all the articles that came out about the little mutiny that happened, they were mentioned like explicitly as like, yeah, these two coaches were vocal about something needs to be done about Jake and this. And I think if anything, it added weight to the players' complaint, because if your players like, no, we're not happy, they're this. I use the example. Remember a few years back when I think Rugby 365 reported like, oh, my players did a thing with the Lions players, and some of the coaches got like 20% ratings and this. And like, yeah, look, players can say what they want. But when now your colleagues, like, your direct colleagues are also kind of like, nah, listen, can't work with this person, and they get in the ear of management about like, no, this one's got to go because this or this. I think that's where it's a big problem. Now, the question is, which is the chicken and which is the egg here? Did the players go to Bêk and Rousseau and say like, nah, listen, guys, can you speak up for us? Or did Bêk and Rousseau go to the players to be like, hey, we are feeling like it's enough. How are you guys feeling? Like, we're going to say something. Who's with us? Because if it's that second option, then the hope is the problem is mostly solved. But either way, my question is this. Ruan Nokir is a damn good player and he's still relatively young. Where does he go? Like, if the Bulls are like, listen, we're getting rid of you, like, where does he go? Because I tell you what, local unions are probably going to be like, yeah, I don't think I want this guy here if he's involved in mutinies. All right. At the same time, Josh Strauss only ever led one mutiny, and he had a long career afterwards. So, I guess a different environment might do him some good. Marcel Coetzee is more winding down his career. I get the feeling he'd probably end up in Japan, or he could even end up back at Ulster or somewhere like that. But yeah, say it's not just those two, and it's like a core of your senior and best players. What do you do?
Yeah, I'm still stuck between this. For me, it doesn't make sense because if players are unhappy of what Jake White said in that final, and other coaches join in on that, why get rid of the two coaches after Jake White is gone? Why, when Ackerman is now there, now you get rid of the two? So, is it Ackerman then that said, listen, I don't want to work with these guys because of what they said about Jake White? I mean, to get rid of somebody because of they spoke badly about this person, but that person is not longer there. Why now? Why now? Why not beginning of the season when Ackerman took over? Why not then there get rid of Andries Becker and Chris Rousseau? Why now this
They
all of
were
a
only
sudden?
in terms. Yeah, they were only there on an interim basis after Ackerman took over. And they said that Ackerman will bring in his own guys or we will keep them. But it was his prerogative to decide if they were going to stay on or leave. And I think with every new guy that comes there, you clean up the administration. Is like a new CEO of a company. He brings in his own guys and fires the other guys. And I think that's what happened with Andries Becker and with Chris Rousseau. I know now Ackerman brought in Neil de Bruin, and now Swayze is also on a consultant basis there on the time, obviously, because the Springbok Women's is on playing. So he's bringing in the guys that he's familiar with, But I just think the old way of the Lions clique going into the Bulls clique now is going to be it is proving to be very difficult for them because I really think although both teams are in Gauteng, it's definitely a different culture.
Yeah, and look, if I'm honest, I back the decision to get rid of those two because a friend of mine who's a Bulls fan put it quite nicely, where it's like, Ackerman would literally have to be watching his back the whole time because, for all he knows, if either one of those colleagues disagrees with him, what will they do? Well, get the players on their side, go to management and be like, no, this guy's got to go. You need, you have to get rid of those guys. Unfortunately, the situation is such that, like, even if it was just waiting till their contracts expire and they're not renewing, they're not going to be there for a long time because, it's a recipe for just, broken communication. But I agree with the point about, Pretoria is not Joburg, and the Lions are not the Bulls. But also, sometimes you have lightning in a bottle. And I think, the Lions had that, in the glory days. It's difficult to replicate that because unless they can bring back, like even where like Swayze is consulting and not coaching full time, not sure what the impact will be. But also, if you have Bok coaches coming in and consulting too, it means it won't be the same. You don't have JP Ferreira doing defense. You don't have Cash doing your conditioning. You don't have, the list goes on. It's different people, So look, maybe they come back. I think the thing is, what's scary is they have so much talent that you can't write them off. But then again, I think of when they were going through the dark days in the later stages of Super Rugby, when Nos Murray and then Potter Human were coaching. When you look at how many top names they had, and the fact that they lost to the Sunwolves, no offense to the Sunwolves, but like I remember the season they lost to the Sunwolves, and I was like, wait, what? Unfortunately, it seems like they're kind of in that territory. But the thing is, they've got so much talent that they will pull off wins. Simply, like if the players decide they are going to play for each other and they're really going to make a concerted effort, they're not just going to beat teams, they're going to put 50, 60 on teams.
No. I'm glad I'm not a Blue Bull supporter. I'm really glad I'm not. Because if I were a Blue Bull supporter, I'm telling you guys this will be my logic. And say, listen, okay, we chase away Jake, the guy that brought us into how many 2 finals in URC. He had the results. Yes, he didn't get the silverware, but we were there. Now he's gone. Now we get Johan Ackerman. Everybody made a big hype about Johan Ackerman. Johan Ackerman is now they're gonna definitely win trophies. You lose 2 of the coaches that were involved in Jake's success. Let's call it success, reaching finals. Now all of a sudden, you 7 games over 2 tournaments lost without a win. Surely it's fine to let a coach go and say, listen, I don't want to work with these 2 guys because they seem like backstabbers and stuff like that. But then you have to bring the results. You want to empty Loftus, or you want to swallow your pride a bit. That's why I'm glad I'm not a Blue Bull supporter, because I think all of them, there's mixed emotions. Some of them think like, yeah, let's give Ackerman some more time. He will turn this wheel around. But you're not sure if he will. Nobody can look into the future. As stats stand now, you 7 games lost. With the Springboks back, with the core team that reached finals 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 1 year ago. Did good, did well. Will you really go to Loftus now? If you're a Blue Bull supporter, you say, maybe this is just going to be another loss. The fortress that was built with Jake White, the fortress, they called it the fortress many times in every single Bulls coach. But under Jake White, it was really a fortress. They hardly lost any game at Loftus. Now they're losing games at Loftus against not really good teams. So, how as a boo-boo supporter do you calm yourself down and say, listen, it's okay. I think those guys, that's why I made a joke this weekend and said, I think there's just blue lights for the men and blue eyes for the women in Pretoria. I think they're so frustrated.
Yeah. I have to tell you, in one, I know one mustn't be like that, but ek kry regtig waar lekker. Ek geniet dit hier in Pretoria. Nou met hierdie ondersteuners hierso. Living every day with them, and I see now they're not talking rugby at all. That's what I love. But once a Blue Bull wins, they're in your face, especially here in Pretoria. And like you said, the fortress, it's going to go empty because what's going to happen now? And I can't see them building on from here. Or they're definitely not going to be in the final. Let's put it this way: the best they can hope for in its early stages. We basically halfway of the URC. But I think for them, they must just hope to obviously play for the top 8. And I think if they don't get a top 8, I think, like you said, Ackerman's going to be gone. But I think the Sharks and the Bulls will obviously drop down to the Challenge Cup. If they do, because last year we actually saw that the Stormers didn't even make the Challenge Cup. I think if you bottom 2 teams of your lot, then or from the whole series on points, you didn't make it. And then the Stormers didn't make it last year. So if they don't even get dropped down to the Challenge Cup and they're out completely, that's going to be a flipping huge disaster. And the same with the Sharks.
And the Blue Bulls is on their way for that, going out of the Challenge Cup. If they do not reach, the only way they can get into if they reach the top 8 in URC. Because thus far they're out of Challenge Cup. And when they don't reach the top 8 next year, they don't play Challenge Cup. And the Cheetahs will be an invitational team until I think 2028 or 2027, 2028. So just imagine Loftus or Pretoria guys swallowing that bitter pill. You don't even play Challenge Cup, but you used to laugh at the Cheetahs. They can't play URC. Just imagine that one.
I must just correct myself there because I think that there's 5 or 6 teams in a pool. I'm talking about the Champions Cup now. And the last, if you at the bottom of that pool, you don't make it even to the Challenge Cup. And I think the 2 teams just above that will drop down to the Challenge Cup. And then obviously the top 3 teams will go through to the playoffs. For the Champions Cup thing.
And I think also, look, the Bulls are playing a team, mind you, it's a very weird one. Because the team they're playing, Pau, I think, or Pau, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. They are, I think it's 2nd or 3rd on the top 14 log, but they're not sending any of their top players. They've decided to rotate because, again, it's like, I guess their thinking is why fly, guys who have been putting in big shifts in that for top 14, why fly them to South Africa for 1 week and then fly them back and it's back to top 14, the week after. So, yeah, they've rotated a bit. So the Bulls are in... No, wait, actually, hang on. Sorry, I'm wrong. Because the Bulls are flying up there. So, sorry. So the Bulls are playing away, but they're playing against a depleted squad, I think. Unless I'm misremembering which team is doing that. But, yeah, look, if they, all they have to do is, I think if they get a win, they're still kind of in there. But, yeah, I don't know. And in a lot of ways, though, I do feel like the problem that Ackerman has is he's taken a job almost midway through a season, and things are going badly. Will management be patient with him? Because I want to say they should be patient with him and say, listen, you didn't even get a proper preseason or this. Like, let's get things done where we can give you enough support. At the same time, the Bulls are usually a top 4 team. So these results are unacceptable. No matter when you stepped in. Like from day one, you need to be producing the results. I want to say they don't have the luxury that we've had where it's like, hey, if we are not held as contenders, it's a lot easier to say, you know what, things aren't going well, but we will give you more time. Let's build. Like here, it's like the house existed. All you have to do now is decorate it, and now it looks like the house is falling apart.
Yep. Yeah. And let's not forget, he took over with the Curry Cup team, Ackerman.
All right. Yes. Sorry.
Yes, and then he was there with the URC, the start of the season of the URC.
Mm.
So he was not thrown in like midway, like now 6 games in or what. So that's a season builder. I think really he must consider his options, and like now he sees the red flag. That's why he's calling in favors or Sways the Brain and Neil the Brain. Called up Rassi and said, "Listen, can you guys help me? Just give me another perspective of what's going on." He knows because somehow he feels the pressure. I can't feel that he sits there at Loftus when it's a home game with all those Blue Bull supporters looking at him after the whistle blows and another loss. You kind of feel like, okay, things have to change. I'm desperate now because on my own I'm not doing it.
Niels, you were talking about the cheetahs. What do you do? And I was thinking now when you mentioned the cheetahs, everybody was laughing at the cheetahs. What do you guys say about and I think it's very unfair towards the Lions and all the other teams in the Challenge Cup that due to a cancellation of a game due to weather, the Ulster
Bullshit.
gets a full bonus point, 5 points.
Sorry for my
not
language.
even playing a game, and it's wrong towards us. I mean, it should have been split, 2-2, and that's it. And now the Ulster, and I feel very sorry for the Cheetahs, and the fact that sorry is not even mentioning anything about that. I just feel that nobody's actually coming up for the Cheetahs in South African rugby. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Sorry my language, but that was utter bullshit. In top 14, how many games do you see where the field is full of snow and they still keep playing that game? We saw pictures of, yes, the field was white with snow. It looks unplayable. But then just shortly after that, you see pictures where they went and cleared the field. The snow was only on the sidelines. That game couldn't have been played. Now that you penalize the Cheetahs because it's their home game. Their home game is in Bloemfontein. It's not in the Netherlands. To punish a team on a away ground that is not their home ground, you give the other team Ulster 5 log points, and they leave with 0. Why were they allowed to play? Sorry, Moya. For the last 2 years, 3 years, they based in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
Why not in Bloemfontein? Now to penalize them in such way and say, listen, because of what the circumstances of the field was, listen, this is your home pitch, which is not their home pitch. We're going to penalize you. We're going to give a 28-0 score. So we joke really when the Lions have a bye. Sometimes I joke at work and with my friends, I joke and say, listen, at least it's going to be a good weekend. The Lions not going to lose because they're not playing. Now we see, you can lose without playing.
Yeah. So for me, the problem is it's extreme weather, right? Like, so Bulls playing in not Bulls, Cheetahs playing in Amsterdam. I understand because they're invited. If they were regular participants, they would have home games wherever their home is, which is Bloem. But I think in this instance, they're like, look, we're inviting you, but yeah, look, we don't want to add now the team where people are having to go far. And in some ways, I think it's also great where it means there's some top flight rugby in Amsterdam, and it seems Amsterdam has really embraced them. But my big issue with it is, imagine, a game is played in Joburg or Pretoria. There's a massive thunderstorm, and so, and it carries on and on and on. And so it's like, we have to cancel the game. And then they say, oh, no, the away team will get the points because the home team could not fulfill their fixture. What are you supposed to do about the weather? Like, that's my big issue with it, is that, I read a thing that the Cheetahs put out where they're like, we tried everything. They were shoveling snow, they were doing this, but I think it's also just that, where it's like, it wasn't just the snow, but also what the snow did to the field meant it was just unplayable, and it's really, really so sad, because, guys, I know rescheduling that is difficult, but honestly, it rather give it as a draw, because the weather meant that the game couldn't be played. It's not. It would have been another thing if they had said the Cheetahs, like the pitch was unplayable because the Cheetahs or the Amsterdam club that they're working with hadn't cut the grass properly, or they hadn't done this. Like, it was negligence. But here, it's weather. Like, what are you supposed to do about that?
And they have emergency dates as well. It could have been played on another day. Why just go all of a sudden and say, listen, no. We're going to give 28-0. That's it. When you have in your planning, you have extra dates that it could have been played on.
Yeah.
Shift it to another town in the Netherlands. They could have tried to get this game to be played, but they just went and give Ulster the 5 points.
I think they're thinking, and it's sorry, Kobus?
They should have split the points. That would have been the only fair outcome.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, precies. Now, I think the thinking of it was from the owners or the management of the EPCR was the fact that the Cheetahs, they accommodated them, I think, for the last 2 years to, and so asked them, can we accommodate the Cheetahs, because we weren't supposed to have 5 South African teams in it. But still, even if you accommodated them, why isn't it mentioned in the let's say the documents or the policies of the EPCR? You only get the rules there, and what the rules are. Nowhere it's mentioned that there will be an exception for the Cheetahs because we only accommodated them. Then it should have they should have made it clear in the beginning before the season starts. Whenever this happens, this will be the scenario. So again, like Kobus was saying, now it should have been 2 points each. Straightforward.
But do you guys remember we saw it in COVID? In COVID, there was a game the Lions was supposed to play against the Sharks, and they got the 4 points. There was one with the Bulls as well, because they penalized you if your team has COVID, a certain amount of COVID players, then the other team gets the 4 points. You remember that? We saw it with the Rainbow Cup. It was around about the end of COVID with the Rainbow Cup starting, or last. Yeah. We got smashed 2 times. One with the Sharks, they got 4 points. And then with the Bulls, 4 points. And then there was another game. I remember there was another game. It was between the Bulls and somebody. And then the Bulls didn't have enough forwards to play that game. But they got the 4 points.
Yeah.
So we've seen this type of thing happening.
True. Oh man, that was a weird and dark time. It really was.
Yeah, COVID rugby was not the same, eh? There's no crowd noise, nothing. Yeah, that was bad. Just to see no faces, empty. Getting used to it now because Ellis Park is mostly empty. So for us, it's like we're still playing in COVID time.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, yeah. Guys, we're gonna wrap this up. Predictions for USA, Perigon. We don't know what the team
Lions
looks
by
like.
5.
I'm going Lions by. Sure. The last time I saw this team play was against the Cheetahs last season, and they won the Cheetahs. So I'm thinking Also, roundabout there, Lions by 6.
My Super Brew Lions by 10.
Yeah, it's unfortunately we always do this on a Tuesday, and I'm always thinking, which team are we going to play this weekend? So I also got confused now when Quibus also said, that Chris Smith is there. Now I'm thinking in my head, will it be that they Moya was also saying maybe the thinking is to rest him this weekend and then play him next weekend when they are in Europe, for the URC against Ospreys. But yeah, I'm not sure exactly what team they're going to play, but I think this one I won't say it's going to be a easy win for the Lions, but I'll say 3 points for the Lions.
So we have a 3, a 5, a 6, and a 10.
Correct.
Yeah, I can live with that.
Sharp. Guys, thanks for coming. Quibus, Elias, it was great having you guys here again.
I'll be
good to
back
have you guys back.
every week from now and again. I'm a post. It's lucky to be back with you guys.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Good to have you. Good to have you.
Definitely. No, good guys. No, it was very nice. I really enjoyed this one. Thanks a lot. It was needed.
It was needed.
Yeah.
True. That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was sitting here just before Christmas, that Tuesday before Christmas. I told my wife, something just feels off. I missed the podcast.
Yeah.
I missed to talk rugby now. Because on the groups, on the WhatsApp groups, you just you talk, you be with something else, and you come back later, 4, 5 hours later, you see somebody posted, you react to that. But this is now, it's ongoing. So I missed that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
That's it.
Bye, Yella.
Thanks, guys.
Yes, we'll speak like this weekend.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Yes, guys.
Yes,
Bye.
mate.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.